Good morning. I know this is earlier for some type of weekend live, and I just wanted to pop on to just figured we're going to call this series Coffee and New Construction. It's a little bit early. It's quiet time in my house right now, and I usually get a lot of work done at the end of the day and in the beginning of the day when my kids are asleep, especially on the weekends. So today I'm coining it Coffee and New Construction because I am actively drinking coffee, and new construction has been kind of what I've been doing for the past, with work for the last couple days. Emails about this new development that we have, Ridgefield Corner over in Tuftonboro. And I thought I would talk a little bit about that, but also new construction seems to be on people's minds, especially right now. I think people are already getting the itch for spring, and they think that's obviously the kickoff for a lot of things. So they're looking at land, they're looking at new construction, they're asking all those questions, cash, construction loans, all of those things. And I find myself kind of a little bit on repeat with some of those answers, especially with the new development that we have right now. I've been answering a ton of what that process looks like, what can people expect. So I thought it might be beneficial for me to pop on and kind of share that with everyone else. As a side note, in more detail, we are having a webinar that you can sign up for later on in this month, specific to Ridgefield Corner, to meet the builder, the designer, the lender, if you have specific questions to that development. But it also is helpful for someone just looking for new construction information. So one thing I have come across a lot is people kind of go, okay, where do I start? And the new construction piece, the biggest thing is to note, do you buy land and get a builder, or do you find a kind of an exclusive package deal like we offer at Ridgefield Corner and jump into something where there's already a builder there? Different builders will have different plans. For example, in terms of how the structure of what you're purchasing is, maybe you'll purchase something at the end, so they own the whole project, they have the capital to provide, to build the whole entire home, and then you're buying it at the end. That you can do a standard conventional mortgage with a lot of things. We are doing something a little bit different at Ridgefield Corner, where we are using a construction loan. That is pretty common that you'll find. I'm not a lender by any means, but that process is pretty similar to applying for a conventional mortgage, in that you are basically supplying the same documents. You're getting a construction loan to fund the build throughout the process, and you own it from the get-go. So that's something that we're seeing more often now too. The one benefit of jumping into new construction right now, when I say right now, I mean still winter time, is that you have this planning period to kind of establish a lot of details before you break ground. A lot of builders aren't breaking ground until the ground thaws, so Mother Nature's kind of in control of that. Let's call that end of March, early April. So this gives you that planning time to make selections and get things ordered. Essentially, we are still looking at a supply chain demand and delay in a lot of things like windows, for example. So this allows the time for planning by getting a jump start at that. That was part of our idea of getting people into the development now. That's why you see new construction things listed in November, because stuff can start, and if you can perfect that planning process ahead of time, it makes a much quicker build process, and it makes it easier for everyone kind of moving forward. So that's something that I think people they don't necessarily think about right now, that you can move forward on new construction right now. No, there may not be a shovel in the ground, but you're planning all of these things for the end goal, which is, maybe you'll move in the Christmas time, fall. So that's the biggest thing right now. One thing, jumping back to lending, that I think people aren't as familiar about, and again, I'm not a lender, but this is something that I feel like I've run into, is, cash is great. And by all means, if you have cash in hand and are ready to go, that is an option, and we can set that up for you with a builder schedule and a payment schedule that is kind of coincides with the specific builder. But if you have a house to sell and you don't want to be homeless and you're not sure what's happening, we encourage talking to lenders, because maybe you can do that construction loan in the meantime. You don't need the cash up front. You need a portion of cash, of course, but maybe you can finance the build. It's interest-only payments typically through the build process, and then once you sell, you can kind of roll all that equity you had in your home into the lend, and you can re-amortize. I never say that correctly, but you can re-amortize your loan. So that way it allows you to start now. Think about that, deal with all of that this summer, you have your lending done, you still have a home to live in, and then come fall, you're able to maybe think about putting your house on the market before winter, and you can kind of roll right into the new home. So I think that opens up a lot of doors for people. That minimal amount down up front is helpful, and it allows other options. So I always say, don't shut the door on this. It's an option for you to do. Talk to your lenders, and like I mentioned, going back to the design process as well. If you can, furniture right now is so far out. So anything like that to get ahead of the game is really key in that new construction process. I'm going through it myself right now. I know people have heard me. I feel like that I'm a little bit of a broken record, but I'm experiencing it too. Cabinetry is not, a couple weeks out. It's a time frame. Windows. I mean, I ordered my windows before my framing started. So it's something to think ahead, and having that foresight and having a builder kind of let you know ahead of time what you need to prepare for. That's why it's okay to start now in these wintertime days before we even break ground. Going back to our development in Ridgefield Corner, I would encourage again for people to come check us out. Actually walk through the development because the views are amazing. Stay tuned for the webinar offerings we're going to have at the end of the month to meet the builder more specifically, and the lender that we're working with, and the designer for more details there. And yeah, don't let new construction scare you off. It's definitely on a lot of people's minds, especially with inventory being low. So take the advantage of it now, and jump in and ask us questions, because we are here for that. So I hope everybody has a great rest of your weekend. I'm going to drink some more coffee because I still am not 100% alive. And I hope everybody has a great day.